the Sunshine State.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Focal Point on Tan Talk 1340, and I'm your host, Gil Pinney. Happy New Year to everyone, and welcome back to the first day of work in the year 2016. What a great year it's going to be. Well, how many of you people out there have made New Year's resolutions? How about you, Chris? Did you make one?
I actually haven't. I haven't done it yet.
Well, you can't join the, you're already missing out on time, because by the end of the week, more than 25% of the people that made New Year's resolutions have already abandoned them.
Is that real?
That's a real number. Got it right here in my stack of stuff, man.
How many New Year's resolutions do you think the average person makes?
Ooh, I don't have that data. It's got to be at least one,
Probably
two or three. And but on today's show, what we're going to discuss is, if you're serious, how to turn those resolutions into reality. And just by following a few simple steps from me, your business coach, you can change your life for the better. So please keep listening. As I have told you on previous shows, I'm your Focal Point business coach. This is the radio show to take your business to the next level. So if you run a business, large or small, get ready to take lots of notes. And even if you're an individual today and you made some of those resolutions and want to keep them, well, we're going to give you plenty of insights and strategies to make sure you're successful in the new year. This is one of the most unique and one-of-a-kind radio programs for Tampa Bay and throughout the state of Florida, and as we've told you before, through to the Ukraine in the former Soviet Union. So if you'd prefer to watch us on video today, we're streaming live. Go to tantalk1340.com and go to the website, click on the streaming, and you'll be able to see us live and in person. And I'm well dressed today, so please do so. Get your questions ready. We want you to be part of the broadcast to get your questions answered by a professional. This is the radio show where we provide reminders and we challenge your conventional wisdom. We're glad you're listening, but would like to get your thoughts and some of your questions. So if your business may not be giving you everything you deserve, or you have a tendency to make resolutions and not fulfill them, please give me a call for the show at 727-441-3000, or send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com. It'd be great for us to hear from you. During this brief segment, we also talk why football and other sports have coaches, and the reason you need one as well. Well, the season has ended for the NFL, and there are 12 teams now have the exact same goal, which is to participate and win Super Bowl 50. Denver, New England, Carolina, and Arizona, they all have byes for the first week, and the Vikings were, I'm not sure if they were smart enough or foolish enough to win last night, because they earned the right to play Seattle next week, while the losers yesterday were the Packers, and they get the right to play the Redskins. And if I had my choice of which team I'd rather play, I'd clearly take the Redskins over the Seahawks. But you know, we'll see how that all plays out. The Steelers will play the Bengals. The Chiefs will play the Texans. And that rounds out the whole playoff picture. But as you know, this is a business show, and we like to talk about the management side. And there are now 6 coaches that are looking for work or just plain going to retire and get out of the business altogether. And those are the coaches for Miami, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Tennessee, San Francisco, and of course, whose name continually pops up because he's playing again for another national collegiate championship, but Nick Saban, and who knows what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin after his little debacle in Oakland. So there's the amazing part to me is when teams fire their coach after a losing season is whether or not there's talent available in the market that can take them to the level that they want to go to. And the next step is, why are there so many poor fits? Chip Kelly got fired from Philadelphia basically because he didn't fit what the expectations were for that club and that organization. He didn't fit well with the players, according to whatever news account you listen to. But why would a large company of the size of the Philadelphia Eagles, why would they take that risk on basically his behavioral style? Well, in many cases, they don't do the DISC analysis that we talk about here on a frequent basis. We talk about that as being a way to find out about yourself and how to find out how you best should communicate with your staff and have others communicate to you through using that particular piece of information. Yet when it comes to being a high-level executive like a coach of an NFL team, you're operating off your past record, whether you won at college or if you won at another team, but not necessarily whether you fit in the current culture at that new team, or if the owner says, I want to change my culture from being passive to being super aggressive. How do you fit that particular model? And I have yet to ever hear any NFL ownership saying, we didn't hire this guy because he didn't meet our behavioral and attitudinal evaluation. It's never anything of that nature, which they ought to be looking at, knowing all the players. All the players should have DISC analysis. They can do it. We can do evaluations of a whole team and figure out how the team dynamics are, and then see whether or not the coach can fit with that team or what the coach would need to do to mesh all those factors together. And again, never hear of teams doing that. It's something that you would think is prominent in the business world, should also be prominent in the sports world, but it's not. So that's our brief segment on sports and where we can take you if you have a business coach. And let's see what all these teams do, whether or not they settle for just the next available or whether they pick someone that matches their particular culture and the direction that they want to go, and set up an organization to make that happen. Many times they just hire a coach and he's supposed to flip the light switch and all the lights go on and the culture changes, the world gets better, and they go from 4 wins to 15 wins a season. And it's not that easy. And it's not all the players. It's the culture and the habits that have developed within that whole organization. So culture and performance are critical, and we are going to move forward. But what about you? Don't you and your business need to continually improve just like the sports team? Well, I'm a business coach. I provide a money-back guarantee. So for a 1-hour consultation, please call us at 727-537-9680 or email me at gilpinney@yahoo.com. You will feel in control of your life and your business, and will build your legacy, and we will put you and set you in the goals, put you in the case, just like an NFL team, where you will have that winning season in the year 2016. Right now, we're going to go to break, and we'll talk to you right after.
I really don't mind what happens now and then, as long as you'll be my friend at the end. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman?
I'm Stephen Pearson, and I'm inviting you inside the Tech Boardroom, where we will talk all things technology and business, focusing on news, technology, and current events that can affect your business technologies. I'm your host, Stephen Pearson. Tune into my show on Saturdays at 9 a.m. for discussions, situations, and solutions, and a wrap-up of this week in technology. Bring your problems and challenges businesses are facing today, and bring it inside the Tech Boardroom, Saturdays at 9 a.m. here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Money, money, money. How much time do you spend worrying about money? What if you could get the things you need without money? You can. It's called barter, and it's the oldest and most enduring form of exchange on the planet. Dave Wagenvord's book, No Cash, No Problem, How to Get What You Want in Business and in Life Without Using Cash, is the new Bible of barter. In this book, you'll discover a new mindset that can change your life forever. Learn a secret that is said to be known by only 500 people around the world. Gain a new skill set that can make you rich. See how multi-million-dollar deals are done behind the scenes, all without using any cash. Complete your first cashless transaction before you even finish the book. Marketing guru Jay Abraham christened Dave Wagenvord the king of barter. Order Dave's book, No Cash, No Problem, by phone. Credit cards accepted. Call 727-441-3311. 727-441-3311. 727-441-3311.
5,000 years of Chinese music and dance in one night, declares the New York Times. Shenyun Performing Arts will take you on an extraordinary journey from ancient dynasties to the modern day. Experience the wonder of authentic Chinese culture. Experience Shenyun. Coming to the Mahaffey Theater, January 12th and 13th. Tickets at shenyun.com or call 888-974-3698.
Coming up Tuesday on the Rocket Sports and Entertainment Network show, Roy Cummings of the Tampa Tribune will be on to discuss the Buccaneers' 6-10 finish on the season. They will pick 9th in the upcoming NFL draft. Who will the Buccaneers play next season? We'll go over that. We'll also talk Major League Baseball. The 2016 Hall of Fame class will be announced. Ken Griffey Jr. is on the ballot. We'll break down some of the other guys and what their chances are of getting in. All that and more. Afternoons 2 to 4 here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, and specifically everyone who wants to learn how to improve their business. It doesn't matter if your business is 50 years old or 50 days old. What we talk about here will help you. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's small business. You're a part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340, and I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. If you have any questions or comments for us today, please call or send us an email. The call number is 727-441-3000, and the email is gilpinney@yahoo.com. So please give us a call, ask us a question, and first on the list is from Alice. She has sent in via the email that, in my opinion, most resolutions are people just wanting to eliminate a bad habit. They don't have the will to break the habit. So why is making a goal going to give them the nerve? Well, that's an excellent question. As I said earlier, 25% of the people abandon their New Year's resolution within a week. So that kind of drops the number down. And as far as bad habits, it takes 21 days to eliminate a bad habit. So you have to give yourself and your process a chance. So the people that, if they want to make it, they have to pretty much decide they're going to do it, enter something in their phone to remind them that I'm going to make this change so they can see it every day. And then after 21 days of focusing on that, that new habit will take the place, or they'll eliminate that old habit. So great question, Alice. Thank you very much. We'll continue with the show. And the statistics that I'd like to talk to you about are, relate to New Year's resolutions. We talked about 25% that abandon them within a week, but another 60% of the population abandon their New Year's resolutions within 6 months. And only 5% of those who say that they're going to lose weight on a diet or keep it off, 95% of that 5% all regain it. So, my gosh, it's amazing. And people, even after they have a heart attack, only 14% of the patients make any lasting changes around eating or exercise. Those are phenomenal statistics. And another statistic that I don't have hard numbers around is one thing you don't want to do if you're a regular membership at a gym is the worst 2 months of the year are January and February, especially January, because you get everybody that made their New Year's resolution that I'm going to get healthier, I'm going to get more fit, and they show up and they sign up for the gym, they buy their year's membership, they pay their dues, and guess what? They're there for the month of January to fill up the gym and make it difficult to get on the equipment and basically, take up space for a month. And then after a month, certain things happen in their lives and they drift away and they are no longer effective at going to the gym, and they spent all that money and they're basically out the funds, and they don't have the resolution or personal resolution to make it happen. So what do we say in business coaching, how you change that outcome? Well, what you want to do is change from resolutions to goals. And why do I say that? Well, let's look at the definition of a resolution. A resolution is the act of finding an answer or solution to a conflict, problem, or other issue such as that. So you're finding a solution. Well, when you make a New Year's resolution, say to lose weight, hey, you found the answer. You join a gym. It doesn't have any impact, but you found the answer, so your resolution, in theory, has been fulfilled. Now, what's a goal? A goal is something that you are trying to do or achieve. Big difference in the word achieve, that you're going to achieve something. You're going to reach a state that's different than today, way different than solving or finding an answer to a problem. So what's the best advice? Well, write down your goals on paper or put them in your phone or any other device that you have. What does that do for you? It gains you a little bit more traction. Why is that? Because when you're writing it down, you have to think it through. You have to gain clarity exactly what you want. And you can then refer to it later. You can put it on your refrigerator to remind yourself. You can put it in your phone so that it sends a reminder to you either daily, weekly, that you've got to do this. And there was an urban study back in 1953 that there was a study done at Yale that people that wrote down their goals made 10 times more money than people that did not write down their goals. Well, in 1996, that whole urban myth was debunked. But in recent times, in 2012, Dr. Gail Matthews from Dominican University in California ran a specific test or study to find out whether or not anything in that urban myth was true. She found that you were 42% more likely to achieve your goal results just by writing them down. Now, that's a pretty good increase over a small number, but 42% is still a pretty low number, folks. So you're definitely not going to go to Vegas knowing you only have a 40% chance of winning. The house will be happy, but you're going to lose your money. So for us, we want that 42% to get much higher. So how do we increase those odds of making sure our New Year's goals become reality? Well, by writing the goals down, as I said, we gain clarity and vision. Creating SMART goals, and SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, you increase your probability even more. And let's use our weight loss example. If your written goal is, I will lose weight next year. A lot of people say that, or they may even get real bold and say, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. That's going to be their target. Well, if they change their goal and set their goal and say, I will lose 10 pounds every quarter, and at the end of the year, I will fit into pants with a waist size of 34 inches. Can you visualize the difference in those two goals? The second is a true SMART goal. It says how much you're going to lose, what time frame you're going to lose it, and then provide you with a visualization as to what your reward is going to be at the end of the period when you're done. You'll be able to visualize, you'll see how you feel when you achieve that goal, and now you're in great position to succeed and gain what you want, which is to lose the amount of weight. Now, whether or not it's losing 10 pounds a quarter, 5 pounds a quarter, that's up to you, but make sure you include what you are going to feel like, what you're going to look like. Get yourself that mental image and vision as to what the benefit is of fulfilling that goal. So now we have the clarity, you've got a written goal, so now you're on easy street, right? Not so fast, Kemosabe. We also need critical performance indicators. We talk about KRIs, and in this case, for the weight loss, it's the weight loss. I'm going to lose, say, 10 pounds a quarter, which is I'm going to lose 40 pounds over the year. Well, that's the result. What is the critical performance indicator that's easily measurable that drives that critical results indicator? So in the weight loss example, what would allow us to lose 10 pounds a quarter? And should you wait a whole quarter to check? Is weighing yourself every day going to make and motivate you to get that progress? Again, you're focused on the key result and not necessarily the key performance indicator. So the key performance indicator is the root cause measurement. Regardless of what your weight loss regimen is, what you eat, how much you eat, it boils down to you need to exercise and you need to intake fewer calories than what you burn. So you have to measure your exercise, make sure your calories are balanced, and then have moderation and don't allow yourself to have binges. Well, how in the world is that going to be a KPI? How do you gain control over your exercise, your calories that you take in versus what you burn, and how would you measure all that? Well, we're in luck in today's day and age where we have fitness tracking devices. You have the Fitbit, you have the Garmin, you have Samsung, you pick and choose any one of them. They all measure your steps, your calories, your amount of flights of stairs you go up. Some do blood pressure, others do other things, but the key things are the number of steps you take and the number of calories. With that, you can now establish yourself a way to measure your progress and do the KRI, which is your weight measurement, every couple of weeks. And then at the end of every 2 weeks, if you're not losing enough weight quickly enough, you can then make adjustments and either increase the number of steps you take or decrease your food intake to get yourself in balance so that you are achieving your weight loss. So the KPI truly works for you and removes a lot of the guesswork as to whether or not you are going to lose weight and how quickly you're going to lose weight based on your own formula and the way you set up your system for yourself. Now, this is talking about weight loss, but it also works for any other item that you want to change in your life. We'll continue our conversation right after the break, and we'll keep going. Thanks a lot. Talk to you on the other side.
Are you suffering from IRS problems? Do you owe back taxes you can't pay? Is your paycheck or bank account being levied? Or maybe you haven't filed tax returns in years and simply don't know what to do. This is Darren T. Mish to tell you that if you're tired of IRS problems hanging over your head and are ready for a fresh start, we may be able to help. Call the law offices of Darren T. Mish at 888-GET-MISH, 888-GET-MISH. I can help you file old tax returns, work to release tax liens or stop wage levies, even negotiate deals to pay off back taxes at a discount, sometimes for pennies on the dollar. Hey, let's face it, these days it's not hard to get into tax trouble. A divorce, failed business, health problems, you name it. The point is, IRS problems may be solved if you're willing to take the first step. Call for a free consultation at 888-GET-MISH. That's 888-438-6474. Or go to the web at getirshelp.com, because the one sure thing is, IRS problems don't solve themselves. So get MISH. 888-438-6474. Principal Office, Tampa.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
Hi, I'm Katrina Madewell, host of Tampa Home Talk. I'm going to give you market-appropriate, timely information regarding homeownership matters, because we want to make your everyday life better. Wherever you are in life, it's our mission to bring you good advice so you can maintain good credit, live within your means, and build wealth. My team and I are passionate about it. Love where you live, or I'll fix it. Tampa Home Talk on WTAN every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m.
Imus in the morning.
Please welcome now to the program the sportscaster Mike Breen. Good morning, Mr. Breen.
Good morning, I-Man. So good to be on your popular morning show once again. How's your staff? I love that talented crew of yours. How's Charles? He's a pro, you know.
Charles has not been here for over a year, Mike.
Oh, that's a shame. How's Larry Kenny? Love his impressions. Is there any voice he can't do, I-Man?
Larry hasn't been here for about 3 years.
Oh, such a shame. I can't get to work in the morning without Roz Frank.
Roz hasn't been here, Mike, in about 15 years.
Oh, shame. Hey, I-Man, how's your health? Cancer. You can't breathe. Impotent. You're a mess, I-Man. You're a mess. Do you still drink, I-Man?
No, I don't, Mike.
Oh, that's a shame. You were always such fun when you were drunk. Hey, I-Man.
Yes, Mike.
Is your wife still in charge of your health treatments?
Yes, she is.
Oh, that's a good idea. The woman who inherits millions making life and death decisions. I'm sure she loves you for who you are.
Catch Imus in the morning right here. This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to everyone who wants to learn how to improve their business. We're talking today about New Year's resolutions and how to make sure they come true. So it doesn't matter if your business is 50 years old or 50 days old. What we talk about here will help you and even those of you that are not in the business community. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's a small business owner. You're part of the Focal Point radio show on Tan Talk 1340, and I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. Please, if you have any questions or comments for us today, please give us a call at 727-441-3000 or send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com. And I thank both Jack and Dave. They sent in questions, and we'll answer Jack's first. Jack says, can you go over the difference between KRI and KPI again? In my business, I only care about the results, about results, and how I get there doesn't seem to matter as long as it's legal and ethical. Okay, KRI and KPI. Key results indicator is KRI, and it is a result. And you measure that on whatever format you want, but usually it's sales dollars, revenue, and profit, and percent of sales as your profit indicator. KPI is a key performance indicator. It's what backs up and is usually the precursor to you being successful at creating the KRIs that you want for your business. So key performance indicators are how many leads you get. And in my example here, I'll use lawyers because lawyers cannot contact potential clients. So how do they generate more cases and more clients to increase their revenue and increase their client base? Well, clearly the KRI, or the key results indicator, is how much money the firm is taking in. But the KPI, though, is the results of the marketing efforts, whether it's getting calls into their office from Yellow Pages, referrals from past clients, referrals from networking partners, either lawyer network or conventional networks. There's billboard advertising, and then the number of clients from target market talks, where lawyers go out and give talks to target groups, say elderly. They go to those particular places where many of them are, give the free dinner, and get them to understand who they are and move their business to them. So everyone needs a KPI, regardless of the type of business they're in. And there are always indicators that come before the sale or before you get that client that you can measure and see what that performance is in order to improve your key results indicator. So that is the difference between a KRI and a KPI. So the difference between results and performance feeds results. Now Dave, he had another question about breaking bad habits. His question, and I read, is, I've tried to break bad habits. I usually pick 2 or 3 bad habits, and in many cases I go beyond the 21 days. After a few months, I find the bad habits returning. What can I do to make this permanent? Well, hopefully, I'm not sure what these habits are, and I hope they're not addictions rather than habits, because dealing with addictions is a totally different kettle of fish than habits. But we're going to focus just on the habits. The best way to assure success with some bad habits is to replace them with something else. So if your bad habits continue to return, something is either giving you pressure to go back to that bad habit because you felt by doing that bad habit you're going to be more successful at handling whatever the situation is than not doing the bad habit. So my example for this is, say you're always late to your daughter's soccer game because you're in the habit of leaving at 5:30 every day, and she plays at 6 and you got a 45-minute drive, so you're always going to be late, right? Well, in the example I'm using here, you can enlist help. Put it on your calendar that on the day your daughter plays soccer, you must leave at 5 o'clock. Tell your boss, tell your coworkers that you must leave at 5 o'clock, and I'll make up a day on Wednesday. Set the alarm on your phone to 4:45 so it gives you a reminder 15 minutes in advance. Soon, not only you, but everyone in your office will know that on Wednesdays, you have to leave at 5 o'clock to go see your daughter's soccer game. You're going to get a lot of help, you're going to get a lot of reminders, and guess what? First of all, your habit will change because you get a lot of people helping you break that habit, and your daughter will be pleased because you're going to make her soccer game every week on time, real time. So those are the questions that come in. We appreciate those, and hopefully they were helpful for those of you that had similar or the same questions. We were finishing up talking about KPIs and how they remove the guesswork as to where you are in your process, be it a year, be it a month, but you establish 1 or more KPIs for every goal and watch yourself progress and hopefully exceed your expectations. Now, what else do KPIs do? Well, there's also a thing called a feedback loop, and KPIs are an integral part of that feedback loop. The definition of a feedback loop is a system structure that causes output from one activity to eventually influence the input to that same activity. Now, a really cool example of this was out in Garden Grove, California, in Orange County, my former place to live, in their school zones. They had a problem where people were always speeding through school zones. They planted police there with radar guns, issued fines, but guess what? Time after time, they would go back to the areas and recheck. The speeding continued. The only feedback loop was for a small number of people that happened to get caught. So what did the Garden Grove city define what to do next? Well, we've all seen those signs. They put put in the radar signs that tell you how fast you're going as you drive by. They put those in, and that particular feedback loop dropped the speed from whatever it was at the time above the speed limit down 14% just by installing those signs. It's an amazing piece of feedback, but that feedback loop reduced the speed because they're telling them how fast to go, how fast their speedometer should be reading. And then in some cases, for some school districts, it brought it down to the speed limit. Instead of being over the speed, they were at the speed limit. So it had a very, very positive effect on the students of Garden Grove, but also on the police department, because the signs were not monitored by the police. Nobody got any additional tickets. The signs were very effective, and people just complied because they looked. It said, I'm supposed to be going 25, I'm going 35, oh my God, I better slow down. They did the feedback on themselves, and they improved their performance as a result. So a great piece of feedback, and I'll tell you what, if you're driving anywhere here in Pinellas County or in Hillsborough County, you'll see those signs very frequently, depending on where you drive, so that people can tell how fast they're going, and the police department gets you back in line. And it's a great story that you can tell your friends and neighbors why those signs are there, to give you that closed feedback loop so that you can improve the overall performance in that area of the highway to reduce your speed. Now, you can create your own feedback loop based on how fast you want to implement change within your organization. Now, we spoke about one feedback loop, and that is the goal-seeking loop, which is what we were talking about with the signs. There's another one called the positive loop, and that's, my best example would be population. If you want to increase the population, you increase the birth rate. By increasing the birth rate, you increase the population, which then has a beautiful cycle which continues to grow and grow and grow. And we've done a great job with this particular example in the world to where we are now approaching 4 billion people on this earth. And so we've definitely done that. So we now know that, the signs give a positive goal-setting loop for our country and for our roadways. Another common feedback loop is a Plan, Do, Check, Act from Dr. W. Edwards Deming. Plan, Do, Check, Act is very simple. You create your plan, you do the work to make your plan come true, then you check to verify that the numbers and the KPIs are reaching what you want, and then you take action, meaning if something is below target, that you resolve that and then go back and plan again. So that's your feedback loop. And a good example here is, say you have a new product that's not gotten buyer acceptance. All your internal trials have shown that the product should be extremely cost effective and excellent for use. We're going to continue this conversation, because my story is a little longer than what we've got before we go to break. We'll return after the break, and we'll discuss my little example here. Thank you, and be right back.
Beat up cars with guitars and drummers go crack, boom, bam.
Let's Go Bowling, heard on the Tan Talk Radio Network every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 Eastern Time. Sponsored by 12 Strike and Innovative Ball Spinner. If you bowl, if you haven't bowled in a while, or if you never bowled, why don't you be one of 65 million people have bowled last year? Listen to the Tip of the Week. Bowling stars, old and new. Let's Go Bowling Show, gobowlingshow.com.
Arg, matey. When it's time for lunch, when it's time for dinner, when the show's over, when the day's over, when it's time to chill, where do we go? Over to Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub. It's literally in our backyard, right in back of the WTAN studios at 700 Eldridge Street, just north of downtown Clearwater. Just look for the broadcast tower. Nancy's food and atmosphere get rave reviews. The laid-back patio is a great place to hang out, dine, and listen to live music at night. And Nancy's one of the friendliest proprietors in town. And now, Nancy is serving Sunday Jazz Brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brunch served with Eggs Benedict, crepes, waffles, lox and bagels, shrimp, oysters, and a build-your-own omelet. That's all at Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub, 700 Eldridge Street in Clearwater. That's right where Eldridge crosses the Pinellas Trail between Myrtle and Fort Harrison. Call 446-3717. 446-3717. You're listening to the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Have you been struggling with family conflict, depression, or trauma? Has something been keeping you up at night, causing excessive stress and worry? Tune in to Moments of Clarity every Wednesday night at 8. After over 10 years as a psychotherapist, I realize how important it is to take the stigma out of seeking professional help. So tune in Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. The call to me can be a great first step. It may just be exactly what you need to hear.
This is Mark Skogman, host of Spectrum 360 on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Spectrum 360 is a political talk radio program that features politics, the arts, and popular culture from a progressive point of view. Spectrum 360 broadcasts for 1 hour weekly on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time and anytime via podcast at tantalk1340.com. Remember, Spectrum 360, politics from a progressive point of view.
We take care of our own, wherever this flag's flown.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, especially those of you that have made New Year's resolutions. Our conversations today is how to make sure that those resolutions come true and become reality in the next year. So what we do here is to help you, whether or not you're in business or if you're just an ordinary citizen working for somebody else. We do this show, though, particularly to build our community's economic engine, and that's a small business owner. You're part of the Focal Point radio show on Tan Talk 1340. I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. Please give us a call, 727-441-3000, or send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com. Drop the ball on that one. Anyway, we got a question here from Jane. It's fairly short. What Jane says is, I heard you talk about quarterly reviews on a prior show. Is the feedback loop the same thing? Well, the idea of the quarterly review is to give people feedback as to their performance on a quarterly basis. In other words, 4 times a year. So for employees, I would say the feedback loop is the same thing. You're giving them their feedback, how well they perform, where they need to improve. And so it's just like the Plan, Do, Check Act we talked about from Dr. Deming, but it's for the employees. But as for your business, I would not really say the feedback loop is the same thing, because you really have a difficult time driving your business to create more input of the same type for your business. I need to give you a better example of that, but when you're getting feedback or you're trying to drive a new output, that output must feed the input, and usually in business, your revenue only feeds your input. If you're increasing your marketing budget, that's okay, but to drive those on an equal basis, to drive your business forward, is much more difficult to do and tough to sustain. Anyway, we were talking about feedback loops and how to generate the improvements from a feedback loop, and I was giving you an example, and that example starts with a little story. And a company had a new product. Unfortunately, it wasn't selling, and all their internal trials showed that it should be cost effective and work well for the intended use. The marketing material touted the benefits, but there were no real orders. Well, the president decided that he was going to send some free samples out to his best customers. He included a little note that said, please try and send us some feedback. Well, the feedback that came in was slow. It kind of trickled in, and if he sent out 50 samples, he got 2 or 3 pieces of feedback in return, so really couldn't draw a conclusion. So Jan, his GM, she came up with the idea that she would call a different set of presidents of other companies that use their product and tell them that they're getting a free sample and she needs their help. And that the product would come within 2 days of their conversation, and then 2 days after, the FedEx would deliver the product, because she would tell them it would come via FedEx, so they knew exactly the day that it would come. She would call them 2 days after delivery and ask them for their opinion. Well, she does this, and of course she has a much higher response rate, and she finds out that there are some design issues, but that's about the only clarity that she got from the president level. Well, so she then would ask, what's the name of the person who tested the product, and ask for permission to speak with them as well. So she's improving her feedback loop. She did the additional follow-up and found what the real issue was. The prior models that they had produced had the controls for speed, on, off. They were reversed in the new models. So their normally good customers were not reordering because they were fearful that their people that used the product would assume it was like all other products that they had seen from this company and then make errors. So they were slow to order, and nobody really wanted to change their customers' habits. Well, of course, Jan figured out that the fix was basically simple, to reverse and put the controls back to where they were on all their other products. And of course, once they did that, she thanked all the people that gave them their feedback, and of course, sales began to take off, and people understood the product and knew that they could, really improve their overall performance by using this new product that they'd come up with. So what's the lesson? First of all, you got to create early feedback loops. The design engineers, and I'm not going to say should have known, but if they had done a focus group or something like that, they would have seen that the controls were not where they were on other models, and it's not a benefit to make that large a change for customers. And this happens in many businesses. Take a small company like Coca-Cola. When they came out with new Coke 25 years ago or more, they thought everything tested out better until they launched it on the marketplace, and there was a major reaction negatively, and they had to come back to original formula and classic Coke. So, and establish time fences on the feedback. That was the issue that the president had when he asked feedback from his top customers. There was no time fence on that, so they didn't think they were hurting or helping the company. And of course, Jan was smart enough to say, I need your help. We got to figure out what is wrong with this product. We improved it, but we don't know why. So she went the extra step, and there was no guessing about what the issue was when it all got done. Summarizing that, this was a small, not really KPI-related issue, other than the product wouldn't sell regardless of what the marketing effort was. But KPI are very critical to your overall performance, particularly your key employees. Jane asked about the quarterly reviews. They need that feedback. They need to know whether or not they're contributing to the bottom line, to the benefit of the company. They need that information. We've talked about that on numerous occasions, but it is so true that people like to know that they are helping you and the company make a difference in this world. So KPIs are also important. They're keys to your overall business success as you move toward your strategic goals. Your strategic goals are 3 to 5 years out. Having a KPI that lets you know each and every month, are you getting closer, further away? How do you take corrective action? Those are important. And then, of course, you have to set your review period. Is it annually? Is it monthly? Where should you be on checking those KRI to know where you are? And if you're doing it monthly, then what should your key performance indicators be? Should they be weekly so you can take corrective action in time to make sure that you meet your monthly KRI? Or should they be daily to make sure you hit those numbers? These are things you need to do as you move forward. Well, we've covered everything I would like to talk about today, and a few things that some people had sent us emails about. Where'd we start off? Well, New Year's resolutions are great things as long as they have teeth, but most people have toothless New Year's resolutions. You need to convert those to SMART goals, and SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and time-bound, realistic and time-bound. You have to define what your key results indicators are, and then once you know what your key results indicators are, you need to set up key performance indicators that feed that result and measure those on a frequency so that you can make corrections before you're too far behind, or if you're getting way ahead, you can make adjustments with either staffing or supply chain in order to keep that up. You also need to create that feedback loop, which is very important, having the feedback loop. You have to collect your key results indicators and drive that culture to develop a feedback loop that works best for your business. And again, it can be either a positive loop or a goal-seeking loop. Either one of them is just fine. Goal-seeking, remember, is like a thermometer where you find out where the gap is, and then you keep trying to reach that particular target number. And then set, and I'm adding, adjust the feedback frequency to maximize your business performance. Sometimes you may be measuring information too quickly. Other times you may not be measuring it quickly enough. But as you get used to this particular process, you'll find out that as you go, you're going to improve your overall performance and set that feedback where you need it. Let's talk business coaching again for about a minute. I do lots of different things, and a business coach will fit any budget. That lots of things includes one-on-one coaching. It includes workshop for revenue growth, goal setting, and time management. So there's no risk to you. Please contact me. My number is 727-537-9680. Make that call. Send me an email, gilpinney@yahoo.com, and we'll set something up. You'll get all this insight. You'll figure out how to get your goals set up and how to proceed accordingly. I'd like to thank you today. I hope you had as much fun as I did creating stories around the New Year's Eve, New Year's resolutions, and how not to be part of that large percentage of people that break promises to themselves, which is what resolutions are. They're promises to yourselves. You're going to solve a problem, and you don't do it. You are and become what you think about most. Please say positive words to yourself and those whom you work with. You'll become wealthy in many ways. If you have a success story you'd like to share, again, please give me a call or an email. Next week, there's more strategies we'll talk about. I will have a guest. Her name is Sarah Lyons. She's an expert astrologer, and she'll inform us how to use astrology as a planning tool. So tune in next week at the same time, right here on Tan Talk 1340.
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen.
Recommendations for gun control? Stocks sink.